Well, I apologize, anyone who is viewing this. I believe I did have a few people who were. It would seem that there were a few technical difficulties that were going on with my computer, and I had to close out the window and then the broadcast. I do apologize for that. Strange things have been happening with this computer, so I'm thinking I need to get it put it in the shops, get to the shop soon. Where was I? Again, I do apologize, but the other video will stay up. This is just a continuation video. I do again apologize. Anyways, as I was saying before, the heirs of Mithras had called a meeting to the players to come to address, and the satrap had arrived with his child, or Stephen, who was I forgot to also mention was in torpor. Again, yes, we took a bit from the Gentleman Gamer on this one, using the character Stephen, who was it was covered in this horrible fungal, like this horrible fungal infection. It was very revolting. Nothing they had ever seen before. They were not able to determine what this was, but they cracked open a box. He had been shipped to them on a North African trading vessel. So yes. Now, what had happened though was he had frenzied in the middle of the room, and they were able to dominate him into submission, Lasombra, and then proceed to dominate the info out of him after feeding him some more blood. And he told them of how this Lasombra and Portugal, I think it was Portugal, I think so, had offered him haven for the night. So he accepted. They spoke for at long length about several different topics, not just the politics. Really, it was just about the politics of Clan Lasombra. It started as first, when suddenly what had happened was he'd somehow greatly offended his host. And Stephen made this worse by throwing the silver chalice of vitae at the at his host, because he was feeling insulted by his own host now, which caused the host to open up doors into other rooms and allow these men who were carrying fire pokers that were burning white hot to come into the room and start prodding and stabbing at them with him, sending him into Rotrek back and forth across the room. Horrible, horrible sight. And somehow the vitae he drank had, they believe, was somehow infected him with this strange fungus that was growing upon him. The ship captain, I believe Lot was his name, explained that, yeah, we found it was very odd. He just started going in and out of frenzy, and Lot himself was a vampire. They don't know what clan he is a part of, though. He is some form of North African vampire, probably one of the legacies. They're assuming he's part of one of the legacies, but they don't know, because the legacies of Africa are strange and alien to even that of the Cainite race, because they do not subscribe to the beliefs of Cain. And so, what proceeded to happen after this was that Bellcrest, he knew what he had to do at this point. He had to execute his own childer, but he was very saddened by this at the same time. He was not just just like, yes, I'm just going to kill him and be done with it. No, this child of his he'd had for several years, and it was just very, very sad to see this happen. But he had pulled his knife out, the one weapon he always is allowed to bring into court with him, and he proceeded to cut the head of his own childer off. I believe he was using his potence, so he made it quick and painless. The one issue is that he had never mentioned he was a satrap at this point, whereupon him pulling out the knife and killing his own childer, Matthew Lepoer and jumped from his chair and Uh, and he tackled the satrap immediately. Jacquot also began pulling off a chair leg to use as a stake because they thought they needed to stop him before he tries to kill anyone else. Whereupon everyone was Aethelwulf pulled Lepoer off and said, "He is the satrap of Mithras. You're not allowed to do this. He is the satrap of Mithras." And there's this look of shock. Now, this was partly my fault, actually. What had happened was the players did not know what satrap meant, aside from the guy playing Bellcrest, because he'd been researching a lot of the book before we started this. A satrap is basically like a sheriff, and so they just tackled the sheriff. If you're more used to modern, think of what would happen if you tackled the sheriff of a city. Now, Bellcrest is a more relaxed individual, and so because of what had been happening, just happened previously, he was not in the mood to attack, and he understood what had happened. He did not see it as an insult, though he was on the road of kings. It was a mistake, and mistakes can happen. I also gave the players who attacked him extra experience for this because it was they took initiative, which I liked. But either way. What proceeded to happen next was that the heirs of Mithras explained that war may be brewing soon. The area of Normandy owned by by Britain at this point was under their control, but the Cainites do not have control of Normandy as of current. The baronies of Avalon do not extend to there. The French Cainites of the Courts of Love continue to hold on to that territory. And so what had happened is that they said that they fear a possible invasion from the French, and also because of that, there might be a point where the Courts of Love try to take more territory in southern England. And so they said, we need to find allies in this, if a war is going to start. These allies were going to be there are two clans that currently exist in the baronies of Avalon that neither has pledged their allegiance yet to Mithras. For one, he is in Torpor, but for two, because of how far away they are. The first clan is Clan Tremere. If any of you are familiar with modern Vampire the Masquerade, you know who the hell the Tremere are. For those of you not in the know, blood sorcerers and usurpers who went to war with the Salubri after they diablerized their founder. Sorlot, I believe. Yes, that was his name, Sorlot. And the Tremere are not allowed to be in the baronies by law. The Tremere are seen by Mithras as they're not trusted whatsoever. They are feared with contempt and hatred. But Mithras is currently in Torpor. So maybe we could find allies among them. It's what Decameron was saying. Now, Lepoer and Jacquot both did not like this idea. Well, they don't know much about the Tremere, because what I say is, well, the Tremere are considered a clan. They're a young clan, so it's and they're relatively new, so it's harder to know about them or anything. None of them know about thaumaturgy. That's the main thing here. But Solomon would not jump to those conclusions. He doesn't know about what the Tremere did to the Nosferatu. He doesn't know about like the wars that were waged in Eastern Europe. And Lot was keeping quiet during all of this. Lot is allowed to be here. He's an emissary from the Eastern Europe, and he is he's just an ambassador. He's just here to deliver a message to Mithras when he wakes up, and he's been claiming the right of domain ever since. He's like, I'm here. You can't kick me out now. I have important stuff to tell him. Why can't you tell us? I was told to only tell him. I don't even know what it says. And so he's been here for several years now, awaiting Mithras's awakening. But but he was keeping quiet this entire time. He rarely spoke. He actually was hitting on Jacquot a bit. He was being very swarthy. I believe he's Ukrainian from in origin, but he had an appearance rating of 3, I believe. And he kept talking about her beauty and how he could even what he has done to himself could never rival hers. And he was being very flattering, and she knew. And when she heard Shami say she was afraid of him because she had heard about the children of the dragon and what they do to people, and she is terrified of them. And he was acting very suave and foreign. But the other group of individuals they could ally with, the other clan, is Clan Salubri. Now, there are not many Salubri in the baronies of Avalon as of current. The only one that is known of, actually, is Matthias. Matthias is a Salubri warrior who lives on the Isle of Lindisfarne. And now, so only one of them, but for the past at least 5 years in game time, the Matthias has somehow defended his island from any incursions or attacks by Clan Tremere, which is quite amazing because they say it's only him. There have been no other reports of any other Salubri on that island by any of Mithras's agents, and they say the attacks by the Tremere that are made are done in full force, but they're never able to get close enough to see what is going on. So how is it that he's been able to survive this long? So they are decided to they just need to find out which one is better to ally with. And Marcus Virus at one point then started going off about how we can't ally with the Tremere. My father was very clear. His father is Mithras. We can't do this. They are our enemy. We have to purge them from these isles before they try to destroy us. They are monsters. I would rather ally myself with a lupine before I allied myself with a member of the Tremere. And his hatred was very, very, was just shining through. It was, but the Chamberlain, he approached the coterie and just after Marcus left the room, and he just said to them, "Mithras is asleep, so our judgment will be perfect for what is happening. With the current affairs, we need allies. I just want you to do the circumspect. Do not tell anyone that you're going north to speak with the Salubri or speak with the Tremere. Don't even tell them. Don't even tell them you are interviewing them because of this. Just try to learn who is the strongest to ally with at this point. Strengths and weaknesses is what we're looking for. We just don't want your prejudices to shine through towards either of them." And so the coterie did agree to this. Lepoer was still thinking about how the Tremere, he doesn't trust them. There's just something about them that he's heard stories that he just doesn't trust, and Jacquot agrees with him. So the characters then proceeded to get everything together that they needed along the way. And this was done in 2 separate sessions between with one of our players had to leave early, but I will get into a session in this video. We had, I believe it was Jonathan Bellcrest, went out and interestingly bought several boxes and even a barrel because he was afraid that if we're going to be on the road, so we have to head all the way from London to Durham and Lindisfarne. Those are near Scotland. So they needed a way to protect themselves from the sun. And so he bought these from a few contacts of his that he had, spent a resources point to do it. And he got a hold of enough boxes and barrels to hide themselves in when the sun comes up. So he did that while Jacquot went off to talk with her sire. Or no, her mentor, Gottfried. And Gottfried was reassuring her that this is the will of God. What you are doing is furthering God's will, and that you should go along with this, and that either way, he will not he will love her either way for whatever decision she makes. And she was very uplifted by this. It was a touching scene. I thought it was very dramatic and very nice. But the other scene then we had was with Solomon. Solomon is friends with a pack of werewolves, and he knows that they can get a hold of some things that he needed. They are members of the Iron Masters tribe from Werewolf the Forsaken. And so he was able to get a hold of an entire carriage for them to ride in all the way north, and it was for no price whatsoever. Now he wasn't given horses, but he was given the carriage. Um, he the werewolves owned a trading post in town. But yes, they were able to get a hold of a new carriage and start heading their way north towards St. Albans. And I think that is where I'm going to leave this off. Again, if I know I'm making many pauses and stumbling with my words, this is unscripted, and I was having some technical difficulties with this, so I do apologize. But either way, if you enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, and please check out the channel of Matthew Dawkins, the Gentleman Gamer. He did some great work. He's still doing videos. Actually, recently a Kickstarter. I don't know if it's ended yet, but the Beckett's Jihad Diary he wrote. And I don't know if the Kickstarter is still going on, but you can check it out from his channel. And also, please go check out Sideways Thinker, the player of Matthew the Poer. I'm going to see about scripting the next video so I can get into a little more detail. This was just very rough around the edges, I thought. But thank you all for watching, and good night.